So you remember back in the day, 3rd edition, 4th edition, Orc Codex said that if you painted it red, you could add 1 inch to its movement. If that was still a rule, and I painted my terrain red, do you think it could move 1 inch? All together now. Wag! Welcome back to the Red Ones Go Fast. I'm old Big Mek, and in this episode we are updating our terrain project. Let's get into it. That's right, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of our ongoing terrain project here on Red Ones Go Fast. I am indeed old Big Mek, and yeah, the channel's been a little crazy lately. And there's some good reasons for that. So things are progressing here at the Mek workshop. I am busy filming multiple long-form videos at the same time. So those of you that are unfamiliar, long-form video means that it's a project that takes more than one take to do, more than one day to do. So things like building that beast snag army there that will be coming up soon, but some other things going on in the background. And that means interspersing with Squig Mac. This be my attack squig. Anyways, where was I? Interspersed in doing the long form videos, there are the short form videos, things like the episodes of the news that I do, that are things that are done in one take. The hard part comes when you don't have a short form video ready to go, or GDub hasn't done anything worth talking about. You end up with these awkward pauses in between videos versus my normal routine of getting a video out almost every day. I can tell you that will definitely change next week as some of these long form videos wrap up. But this particular episode is indeed an update on our terrain project, which is what we've been working on in November and early December, following working on our orc army all of October. So let's bring you over to the workbench, get set up there, and show you what's going on. All right, and one of the many things I'm working on is more lighting in here and more diffuse lighting to get different angles and things, as well as more cameras and mounts so that I can do multiple takes without having to physically move all the cameras and mounts every single time, which is what I currently have to do because I only have one. Anyways, I digress. We've been working on our Octarius terrain. So this is the fully built and painted one that I've had for a while. And this is the one that we've been working on. We built it and we primered it. We now have to paint it. In addition to the Octarius terrain, we've been working a little bit on the Mechanicus terrain as well, including a couple of the containers. And you can see here, this is the raw red oxide primer that we talked about in the priming video, which is done very well. Thank you so much for that. This is my quickie kind of 10-minute paint job on the other container. So basically use the red oxide primer as your base. You throw some Nuln oil at it, you dry brush with some lead belcher, and this is what you get really, really quickly. And it works really well on terrain, and then you can spend a couple more minutes doing some detail painting from there. But for big terrain projects, we just need to knock a bunch out fast. It's a really good way to do it. So what we'll be doing is painting this one from start to finish on a video to show you exactly how to do that, as well as doing the extra details that I haven't actually done to this one yet. This is the test model so that I can film this in one take and get it done correctly to share that technique with you. The other thing we were working on were the scrap piles. So basically the orc barricades and scrap piles that come with the Octarius terrain also come in the Speed Freaks box and the Big Mek workshop, of which I have all three. Now I did give one full set away to a buddy of mine, Fred, so that he could have some too, but that left me with 2 identical sets, and I don't like having identical things, especially in my orc army, especially something like scrap piles. In the first video, we did the barricades up and changed them around, cut them up, made a couple of L pieces, things like that, but I was really at a loss for what to do with these scrap piles. Well, I finally figured it out. The answer is add more gubbins. So at first I was trying to cut them apart like I did the barricades and glue them back together, and that worked a little bit, but not like gluing extra parts of them would. So you can see this one here is actually one of the scrap piles cut in half, has been added onto this other scrap pile. So that's this piece right here has been added on. But then I went and I added extra gubbins on top of the rest of it. So I've got some tank track here, some Dakajet parts, some truck parts, a couple of shooters and some rain bits and stick bombs and stuff like that. So basically just adding stuff on top of the scrap pile, especially targeting the things that were big and flat and could be obviously picked out as being identical. So like this big door here, let me go get my painter. I'll show you side by side. All right, so here they are side by side, and you can see I've made a functional difference, right, by cutting this part off and moving it to the bottom. I've managed to change the shape of it, but then also there's a couple of pieces that really stand out. One is the door, and you can see I added a handle to the door and put a choppa on top of it on this one. The other is this lid here, which got covered up completely on this one. And then you had this large piece of scrap, which is now moved to this side. And then you'll see I actually glued a whole nother section on here. That's from a whole nother piece of scrap that has the Booster Blast, a custom Booster Blast piece on it, right? So I've managed to completely change this around from the original piece, so that when I paint this up, even though I'm going to paint it in a very similar style, it's going to look like a completely different scrap pile just by doing some rearranging and then adding a bunch of stuff on top. And here is the other pile, and you can see here this one has this pile of tires, which looks really cool but becomes very obvious, and then it has this flat section here where there's this little, I don't know, old Imperial air handle or something, and then this piece of scrap iron. And so on, let's get it right around, there we go. On this one, you can see I covered that scrap iron up. I've got a bunch of random pieces. I've got some tank treads from Baneblade and some sort of Space Marine cover there, and a saw, and just kind of covered that bit up. And then over here on this side, I've got a chunk of Battle Wagon Ard case covering up some of the tires, and then you'll notice the ammo box from the other scrap pile that I cut apart, as well as some more Daka there on the side, and then that piece that I cut apart, this is the other half of it, the toolbox, and I went ahead and I trimmed everything around the actual toolbox that's open so that it really looks like a toolbox that's been left next to the scrap pile. So you can see, again, I've changed the physical shape of the scrap pile as well as the scrap that's on top and the things that you can really look at and see. And even from the side, so this one's got the foot peg, for lack of a better term, that comes out of the side of the old Megatrack scrapjet there. I cut that off on this one, covered it up with the door, and then now I've got a Tau rotary launcher that is poking out of one of the tires, thus moving that piece over. So yeah, very happy with actually how the scrap piles came out, and I can't believe it took me that long to just figure out to add more gubbins to it. That's the most workiest thing in the world to do. Duh. So now that I have my barricades built and primered and set, and I've got my scrap piles now built, I can primer my scrap piles, and then I can sit down for a painting session. And again, that is going to be one of the longer format videos. I'm going to do this one up entirely on the video to show off this technique, and then the other ones I'll be painting on our Twitch stream, which is something new coming to the channel. So if you want to see any of that stuff before anyone else, the long form videos or the Twitch streams, you should come join us over on Patreon. Even at the free level, get you access to those things. And as far as Patreon goes, if you decide to support Old Big Mek with a couple of teeth, we only have one paid level. It's a whopping 5 teeth a month. If you decide to join us there, there are going to be giveaways starting this month in December. So just FYI, if you haven't signed up for the paying tier, there will be giveaways going from there. And we've got other ideas going on top of that. One of the other things I've been working on with these scrap piles is scrap itself. So one of the things that I really push on this channel is conversions and how great they are for Warhammer 40,000 and how great they are as an artist. And the number one kind of thing that I get is from people that live in areas that don't have a hobby store that has like a bits bin and don't have a lot of bits themselves. And so I've been toying with the idea of Old Big Mek's personally customized bargain bits, right? Where you can buy a bag of bits from me that are guaranteed to make a Big Mek happy and be very, very orcish indeed. And so if that's something you're interested in, shoot me a comment down below, and we'll talk about figuring out how to get this out to you. Yeah, because I think that's a good idea. And I have, well, lots of bits. I got more than one of these. So old Big Mek can make quite a few of these bags. And again, guaranteed orcish. Alright, and as far as the rest of the channel is concerned, the big news, of course, I announced during Done News, and that's I did get my hands on a Beast Snagga box for the holidays, and we are doing a full Beast Snagga army build, paint, or list building, play, do a battle report, the whole nine. We're doing everything with building that army up from scratch. So if you don't want to miss that, definitely subscribe so that you can be a part of all of those videos. We've got some other stuff coming up too. We've got our second t-shirt design in proofing right now. So if you didn't like the red squig energy drink one, we have a completely different design coming at you for that one. And yeah, that'll be a fun one to release. So again, if you don't want to miss that, or you want to be first on the block to have it, definitely join us over on Patreon. So that's been it for this episode. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for your patience during these lulls as I get this new production schedule figured out. I might have 4 grot helpers, but I am only one Big Mek. So being the person that's got to record and edit and upload everything means that I've got to figure this out so that I can intersperse things more evenly to get you the content that you want in the time frame that you want it. So I really appreciate each and every one of you for checking out this video or any of my other videos and joining me here on Red Ones Go Faster in the old Big Mek shop. So until next time, wag on!